Good morning.
Good morning. How you been?
I have to give a special shout out to our listeners that immediately watch live so that they can watch our 1 to 3 second pause at the beginning. And it was a thrilling way to start an episode. Ooh, there was a squirrel.
It is. What happened?
There's a squirrel literally 6 inches from my front door. It's staring at me. It's watching me.
It's a squirrel.
That's the closest it's ever been to the house. Oh my god. Okay, all right. Focus. Sorry. Okay, here I am.
You're like, it's this big, giant, scary monster. It's a squirrel, Graciela.
No, I didn't say it was scary in any way. As a matter of fact, I just saw a T-shirt that says "Don't hear what I didn't say." But it's very exciting. I love seeing all the nature things. They come right up to the house. The other day, I got a video of a deer that was literally laying down right in front of our downstairs door. Like, it wasn't just sitting there chewing on the berries. It was literally just relaxing. Of course, none of them have let me walk up to it yet, which is frustrating because I did spend all of my youth watching Disney movies, fully expecting to be able to pet wild animals, but whatever. So.
Well, for their own safety, I'm going to say it is actually better if they don't get that comfortable with humans, because
I was promised I could snuggle with Bambis. That's what I was told. So.
We'll have to talk about that off camera, because that's a bit much. But
there's a lot of undoing. You know what I mean? Growing up, there's a lot of undoing all of these things we were told in childhood.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Oh, good.
So yesterday I flew back from Wisconsin to Florida, and I want to share two things I'll save the first thing to make it second, because it really kind of ties in for our topic today. But funny story, I had to connect through Detroit, which is fine because the Detroit airport used to be a disaster, ugly mess. And I don't know, it's many years ago now. They restyled it. It's a beautiful airport. I absolutely don't mind going there. But when I, initially looked like, okay, where am I arriving there and where do I have to go once I get off my plane? Because I had a very short time between flights. But when I looked on Sunday night, it was like, oh, no problem. I arrive in gate 73 and I leave from gate 74, right next to each other. Perfect. So anyway, we land in Detroit and we arrive in gate A6. And I am departing, my plane is literally boarding as we're arriving. And my departure gate is A74. Yeah. They do have some of the moving walkways to help you go a little bit faster. But I'm 57 with a carry-on rollerboard that it has probably at least 15 pounds of meat in it. And I'm just going as fast, but there's always the slow people that are getting in your way. I'm just cruising, but I'm also wearing a dress, and as I'm walking so fast, I feel my undergarments start to fall down. I'm grabbing onto them because I'm I'm gonna be running through Detroit airport with my underwear around my ankle. It's the biggest disaster. And I get there and they're final boarding call. And then, so of course they want to check my bag because, the compartments are already full. I'm fine, take my bag. All my meat will be happier under the plane anyway, where it's really cold. So everything stayed completely frozen on this trip, which is wonderful. And then I get to where my seat is, and supposedly I had the window seat, but there's like the cutest young couple in their like 20s, and like he was sitting in the window seat, but the aisle seat's still open, so I don't care. Window aisle for a short flight like that, same difference for me. I sit down, and I don't know, all of a sudden they have like this realization that he's in my seat, and they're like, "Oh my God, we're so sorry." I'm like, how are these kids so sweet? I'm like, we're fine unless you really want to switch, and they're like, no, if you're okay, we're okay. But it was like, yes, you can tell I'm still in the Midwest because people are nice and happy and kind, and yeah. And then I came back to South Florida. It's like, ugh, whatever. So that was my first funny story, possibly an overshare there, but I love a good
That's
overshare,
incredible.
you know,
That's
because somebody
incredible
else
on so
had
many
that
levels.
experience too. So, but the other thing I wanted to share, and I was trying to upload a picture of it so that people can see, but my favorite thing about the Milwaukee airport, besides the fact that it's small, so everything is like, even if you do land at the farthest gate and you got to go to a different one, like it's super easy because it's not that far.
Mhm.
But once you go through TSA, they have an area. There's a sign up above that says recombobulation area that they
Hysterical.
created. So, because like with TSA, you got to take off your shoes and pull your laptop out. Those things are kind of changing, but like you got to do all the things to go through TSA, and you come out discombobulated. And so they created a recombobulation area, and it's, I don't know, like every time I go through, and it's been, years that I'm going through the recombobulation area, it just makes me smile every single time. But this time, it really had me thinking, like, everybody, just like people are reaching out all the time, watching on social media, my personal clients, like everybody is discombobulated. And I'm like, we all need our own personal recombobulation area, which I kind of felt went with our topic today, which is how to stay calm even when you want to freak out. And you just got to get to your recombobulation area.
I think that absolutely could be the name of our next retreat, recombobulation.
Ooh,
Love
I
it.
like that. I
I
like
like,
it.
yeah.
So like, for me, I just had 4 days of recombobulation, being in Wisconsin at my dad's place, at my brother's place, because they're both, in the country. Yes, there are other beings around, like they're not in the middle of nowhere, but there is just nature all around. Yes, I got to see deer by the side of the road. Didn't get to pet any deer, but saw eagles and all different, like the birds. Yes, we have some of the same birds, but there's a lot of different birds that are feeding on my dad's feeder that I don't get to see. And I was really hoping for more fall colors, but the universe needed me to go there the last week in September instead of the middle of October when I really wanted to go. But there were still some red leaves, some orange leaves, some yellow leaves. So there were some patches of that. And the other highlight too was being able to share a beautiful cacao ceremony up there with some of the Wisconsinites. So the whole 4 days felt really recombobulating for me.
Sounds like a dream. Sounds like an absolute dream.
Yeah.
How was the ceremony?
It was really beautiful. It was small, like always. Everybody is so busy, and I got so many messages from people. One, she's like, I'm still in France, but if I was back, I would have been there. And another one had a big college thing for their kid that they had to be away at their college for the weekend. And I know there's still people that are like, what is that weirdness that Juliet is talking about? I'm curious, but I'm not ready yet to experience it. So next time I go home, I will do another one. And, those that were there really appreciated it. I think they will now go out and be, next time it's happening, they'll be able to recruit more friends to come along and participate. So, and it was fun. Like I was using flowers, some that my dad were growing in his garden, some that were growing wildly on the property. They have these marigolds, and I don't know if anybody out there knows about marigolds. Like my experience of them is they're always like, I would say like the size of a ping pong ball flower. My dad's marigolds are like the size of a tennis ball. I'm like, they were huge, beautiful, and they look so pretty on the cacao altar. So, and the other funny story so I brought sage with me to cleanse the energy of the space and the people there. And so I asked my dad, like, where's your lighter? And he's like, lighter? I don't know. So he's like, we're looking through all the drawers. There is not a lighter in my dad's house. So he goes out to the garage and comes out with this big torch. It's like got a propane tank on it, and I light that thing up to light, and I'm like, wow, this works really good. I might have to get one of these. Because, sage is always a little bit difficult to light it and get it going. And I typically use, have those torch lighters that are a little bit stronger than a regular lighter because it just makes it easier to get that sage going. But this thing, oh my God, I was like, lucky I didn't burn down the house.
I was going to say, you saged the whole town, I would imagine.
Kind of, sort of.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
That's awesome. Well, very cool. I actually, the weather has been absolutely gorgeous here, and I ended up taking a client out to a forested area yesterday and doing a photo shoot. And I did this a couple weeks ago too. This was kind of like part 2, but we were in the forest and the waterfalls and, all the things. And it was just really, really cool to be out there again, like feeling those, I think I don't know if I've talked about it here before, but when I did my guided forest therapy training, I learned about a chemical called phytoncides, which is funny because when you look at it phonetically, you kind of have to work at saying it, but our instructor said, think of fight insides, like fighting inside your body. And I was like, oh man, that really helps me remember it. But certain evergreens give off this chemical and it activates the natural killer cells inside your body, which is what helps make you healthy. And so there's just a different scent to each little forest that, I end up in. And I don't know, it just really, really felt good. Plus the weather was perfect. My friend calls fall the kind of weather you fall in love in, like you make silly decisions because you're just feeling like a Hallmark Channel movie, So we had a lot of fun with that. And then I also got to, over the weekend, do one of the icon within portraits, which is really fun. It's black and white imagery only, and it's an interview. So it's kind of like a character portrait. So I ask questions, you tell me stories, and I'm documenting you as the stories are going. So it was really a cool and fun experience, and I'm excited to have that as like a new offering. And then one of the other days I woke up early. I, had my cacao and then I did a Reiki session, like at 9 a.m. on a Sunday. And between the cacao and the Reiki, the energy was just aligned. So I literally sat down and put together a year-long coaching program in one afternoon. Like I just sat there and cranked it all out, and I am like this close to launching. I am so excited about this. Just to give you guys a little hint of an idea of what it is, it's a chakra-based program. So going through each chakra and really using different modalities to kind of focus in on and talk about those different energy centers and kind of get them balanced, and then learning how to work with them and things like that. And each section, each chakra will end up with a photo shoot. So it's all of this learning, it's all of this experiential stuff. And then you have, like, let's say we start with root, then we'll do a root chakra photo shoot. And then the next section is going to be sacral. And then we'll do all the things there. And then that ends up with a photo shoot. So at the end of it, we'll have a total of 7 photo shoots, and then one big one at the end to kind of commemorate this year-long process. So I'm really excited about it. Put a lot of time and effort into it. Like, it's been churning in my mind for a couple of months, but yesterday I was able to get like all the outlines down and the meditations started to put together and things like that. So hopefully I will launch it soon. I already have one guinea pig lined up. I can't wait to work with her. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, I had a really great weekend, and I'm excited for all that there is to come. More of everything I just did this weekend. I could do that.
Nice. And I love that you're bringing out that out there about the chakras, because, you know, I offer, and you offer, chakra balancing every month. And like, sometimes I get frustrated that more people don't show up, because I think people think that this is something that belongs to the yogis, it belongs to the Hindus, it belongs to whoever out there. But the truth is, like, we all have chakras, regardless of, you know, what your background is, what your religion is, it doesn't matter, any of that. We all have chakras, and the chakras need maintenance just like anything else in our body. And so if you're not learning about them and learning how to work with them, you are neglecting a very important piece of you. So I'm glad that you have like another offering out there to help educate the world, wake people up to know that, hey, you've got chakras. And when you learn how to take care of them, when you learn how to work with them, your life is going to be so much better.
Well, and I think it's important to note that, like, humanity has always been, we're all just making this up. So everybody's got a different vocabulary word for it, right? So what you might call your gut, right, might be, in my words, my sacral chakra, right? And what you call your intuition is your crown chakra or your third eye, right? So like, don't get caught up with the word chakra. Don't get caught up with the term energy center. You know, it's really about how you feel in your body, how you show up in the world, the things that you want to work on. So if I say, do you want to work on your root chakra? And that sounds like, ooh, that sounds weird. Okay, how about, do you want to feel more calm? Do you want to feel more safe, secure? Do you want financial security? Do you want safety in your life so you're not anxious and scared all the time? I mean, you know those words, right? So if root chakra feels a little weird to you, and I was having this conversation with someone the other day, they said, you know, do you get a lot of people that are like, oh, that's weird. What's cacao? So weird. You know, like, you know, does that bother you? And I'm like, well, first of all, my haters are polite enough that they don't tell me. So I don't know anybody that says anything bad about what we do. But I said to this person, I said, that is exactly the person that I would love to talk to. I welcome you. I welcome you to come in and have this conversation with me and ask me, what's up with that? Why should I even care about that? That's a great question. And I'd love to put the information out there, you know, and just like any good practice, it's your practice of choice. Like, you get to find out information and then see if it works for you. And if it resonates with you, great. And if not, that's okay too. You know, you don't have to balance your root chakra, go to a therapist for 10 years. Like, that's perfectly fine. Do what works for you. It doesn't matter. But this is a different way of exploring all of these different parts of ourselves, right? From anxiety, depression, feeling grounded, courage, strength, creativity, power, your heart, right? Like your throat. Are you speaking your mind? It doesn't have to be, hey, friend, I really need to work on my throat chakra today. Like, if those words don't sound comfortable to you, that's fine. But what could you say? Man, I'm really not being understood, right? Like, in my house, I talk and I talk and I talk and no one gets me. Well, that's what that is. Now, you don't have to call it root chakra, but you're aware of it, and you want to balance it. You want to fix it. You want to feel better in this way. So yeah, that's how I see it.
All right. So we've been talking and talking and talking, but we do have going back to our topic for today is how to stay calm even when you want to freak out.
I mean, freaking out is my jam. I don't know.
Well, and an amount of, like, we're all allowed to freak out sometimes, and a good freak out feels good sometimes, but there's obviously, when we're adulting, it's not always convenient to freak out, and we don't always want to freak out. Like, sometimes we want to be calm. So talk to me. What tools do you use to keep calm?
Well, I will say, when I was in my 20s, I heard the term HLF, hysterical Latin female. And, there's a little bit there, there's a little bit there. We have some bold reactions to things, and sometimes this is necessary. And I will tell you, like, even moving up here, driving down certain mountains and up mountains and around these corners, I'm like, okay, I am absolutely going to freak out. So for me, there's like two levels of freaking out. There's the immediate, oh my God, I'm going to die. And then there's I'm sitting at my desk and I have 57 things to do and I'm never going to get any of it done. And it's this ADHD overwhelm. So in either case, for me, when I have the presence of mind, and if not, I educate everyone around me so that they can have the presence of mind to remind me. I like to do a lot of nervous system calming type of physical things, right? Like at a huge freak out, I will take my hands and put them in a bowl of ice water, to disrupt this pattern, right? And I know it sounds weird, but I can have freakouts on many different levels, right? Little baby freakouts, sometimes it's just reciting a certain mantra, goodness knows green Tara comes with me on every mountain road adventure that I go on. And some physical things for me, particularly, I have met this beautiful therapist. I love her to death. She's been teaching me a lot of different ways to just calm your nervous system down. And one of them is, if you're listening, I highly suggest you watch this video because she has you take your hands like this in front of you and twist your arms and kind of pretzel them right here. And then cross your feet, bring your chin down, and take 5 deep breaths while squeezing. And I will tell you that to me has really helped me just like give my body the space to calm down enough so that like the logical part of my brain can be like, okay, calm down. It's just gravel. It's not going to kill you. Or, you know what I mean? It's not the saber-toothed tiger. Give it a second, evaluate, look around, notice more things, right? So things like that, physical things really work for me. Breathing works for me. Mantras work for me. And honestly, to-do lists, making a list is the joy of my life. When my sister's 6 years younger than me. And so I started obviously driving way before her. And so we would get in the car and I would be like, hey, Tina, make a list. And as I was driving, she would be writing down the things I needed to do. Fast forward, 30 years. Now my daughter's in the car with me and I'm like, Abigail, make a list. So that list helps me to avoid freaking out. So that part really works for me. Yeah. How about you?
So, well, first I want to acknowledge Vanessa. She's showing up to hear all these tips. We love you, Vanessa. And she's been around with us long enough. I'm like, are we going to tell her anything new today? But then it also made me go, we all need reminders of these things. Like, I have so many tools in my pocket, and, there's the ones that are my go-tos. And then there's the other ones that, like, I forget about. And then when they come back to me, I'm like, yes, I love that tool. Why haven't I been using it? But I think for me, like, the biggest thing of all is the breathing. And I feel like, oh, we have to share this too from Vanessa. She goes, freak out champion here, always here for reminders or new tools. We love you, girl.
I love that Vanessa's always willing to learn, always willing to learn. Good girl.
Yes. But yeah, for me, breathing is, and again, breathing doesn't require anything other than me making the choice to pay attention to my breath. And, there's all these like specific tools out there, whether you're doing box breathing or alternate nostril breathing, and even for me, like most of the time, it isn't even using a specific breathwork model, but rather me like just intuitively tuning into my breath and using it and moving it and like feeling into where am I feeling this freak outness in my body and breathing into that space, or looking at where does my body feel like it's starting to get grounded and put more energy there to help me ground. I think all of these tools that are out there, like someone tried something that worked for them and then they decided to make it a thing and label it and share it with people, which is absolutely amazing. But all of these tools, I think they become much more powerful when you tune in and you make it your own and see what, like, did that actually work the best for me? Or do I need to shift it a little bit so that it becomes a more powerful tool for myself? So, like when things get really bad, then I start grabbing all my crystals. I grab my dolphin stem to stimulate the acupuncture points. Maybe I go and if it gets really bad, just shut down the world around me, especially, as an introvert. I was going to say internet. As an introvert, we need to be alone. And so when there are so many other people around you, it's really difficult to ground that energy. But if you're an extrovert, you might need to phone a friend and be with a friend to help you get back grounded and calm. And so it's knowing, what are you? Are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? And that will help give you give you clues as to what tools are going to work better for you.
I think a really good practice is to practice listening and trusting yourself. So much of how we are raised and how we participate in society is that we're always seeking an answer outside of us. We're always seeking something to buy or something to be or something to have or, someone to listen to or whatever. And 1,000%, I do like all of these things. There's a lot of, quote, things and experiences that have added to my life. But I would say that they are all a pathway to, at the end of the day, learning to trust myself, and sometimes it's hard to do that at the very beginning because what's swimming in one's head is all of the nonsense and the craziness, and you can't see straight, and so sometimes you need a tool or a thing and whatnot. But the ultimate goal is to be on the other side of the tool so that you realize that like you are the medicine, right? But it takes work to get there. For me anyway, it did. And it takes a lot of guidance and community and being in spaces where that kind of self-trust is encouraged, you know. I used to laugh. There was a meme or something that said like something like, are you depressed, or are you just surrounded by a bunch of jerks? You know what I mean? like check everything. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it's not you. Maybe you just need more trees, you know? So
absolutely. And that's one of my biggest things, I don't know, over the past many years, that this really is about empowering everybody out there to learn how to tune in and manage yourself and heal yourself, because the truth is nobody outside of you can do the work for you and heal you. And, you know, there's a lot of, I'll just say, gurus out there that are essentially making a tribe of people that are dependent on them to do the things. And ultimately, my goal is for you to be empowered to do the things for yourself and to create community around that, because we know that humans are not meant to function in isolation. We are meant to operate in community, but that also, we're working in community, but we get to be empowered ourselves and not dependent on the others in our community.
yeah, and I think there's, you know, we always talk about the power of community, and I will say, as mere mortals, it does pay off to hear these things over and over again, to have new experiences again, you know, old experiences in a new way, if I can say that. Last week we had a guest on our show, Alicia Sky, and she was hosting a virtual retreat. I think it started like 24 hours after our episode. And I just jumped on, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to jump on this and, you know, see how it feels. And while a lot of the things, yes, we do the same things, and I've heard some of these things before, there's always a nugget, you know, there's always something new, and there's always something really beautiful about being reminded, you know. Like, it's not linear, you know, you get to ebb and flow, right? And life is like that too. So I was really, really grateful to her and having her on our show. And again, like, capitalizing on the magic of the moment. You know, what are the chances that she came on our show, I did, you know, her retreat, we ended up doing this, and da 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 da. So like, so many of our clients tell us the magic they feel after the retreat, long after the retreat. So yeah, it's well worth it to be in community and to be reminded of just how powerful you are.
Well, and I think also you said something very important there, because once you get to that space where you're sitting in the leadership, you know, and teaching others, oftentimes we're just constantly doing that leading space, and we also get to at times be in the space of the student and the receiver. And I love when I get to do that. Like, it just feels really special to just sit back and receive and hear things from a different perspective. Here, you know, I say this all the time, like, I want you to share, because how you share it, it's going to resonate with someone that the way I shared it doesn't make sense. And that's one thing I love about you and I sitting here on this podcast. And we're talking about the same things, but we both have different ways of communicating them. And so I might not say it the right way for someone, but you say it in a different way, and it resonates for them, and they have that aha moment and they get it. And also going and listening to other people say it, that teaches me new ways to share what I normally share. And so, you know, sometimes I'm trying to explain something to someone and you see like they're not getting it. And it's like, how can I say this differently that it will finally make sense to that person? And so, yeah, there's so many beautiful reasons for all of us leaders, healers, guides, visionaries out there to go and sit with others like us. And yeah, so I love that you did that. I was wanting to be able to do that, but because I was traveling, like there was just, it wasn't going to work into my schedule. But And
Yeah.
yes, it was super fun having a guest on the show again. And so, if you're out there listening and you think that you would be a great fit to be on our show, reach out and we'll see if we can make that happen. So, yeah. Woo. All right. You got anything else?
I think we're good for today.
Yeah, that was a lot. It was a beautiful show. And, and if you're out there freaking out and you can't figure out how to get calm, reach out. We have lots of different things available to support you in that, whether it's one-on-one coaching guiding with Graciela and I, whether it's our cacao ceremonies, chakra balancing classes, forest bathing, whether you sit down for one of these amazing new, I don't even know, what are you calling? I was going to say package, but I don't know. I see all the new offerings that you're putting together. Because definitely a photography session, I said this from my first experience with you. It's not just a photography session. It's a healing session. It's a growth session. And, and then we have our retreats, absolutely. Like if you need a big shift in your life, like giving yourself those 3 or 4 days to really get grounded and really learn some powerful tools to support you going through this game of life here. So there's lots of support out there for you. You just have to take that step, and because we can't drag you there, but if you're needing some support to get calm, to get grounded, we're here for you. All right. With that, I'm going to say, have a magical day, everyone. We'll see you
All
next
right.
week.
Bye.